Have you ever felt like you're just on this treadmill, always chasing that next thing that you think is finally going to make you happy? Well, that feeling, it comes from a really simple but incredibly powerful promise that modern life makes to all of us, that happiness is some kind of destination we can arrive at.
And this right here? This is the core belief that drives so much of what we do. It fuels our ambitions, our entire economy, and that relentless nagging pursuit of more. We're told again and again, just get that next thing and then you'll finally feel complete. But what if that whole idea is a complete and utter deception? What if the game itself is rigged right from the very start? Let's take a closer look.
So let's start with this modern myth, this promise of enough. Why is it that the promise of finally getting enough stuff to be happy never, ever seems to actually deliver?
Ancient wisdom has this perfect metaphor to explain the problem. It says our desire is like a bucket, but a bucket with a big hole in the bottom. It doesn't matter how much you pour into it, it can never, ever be filled.
So why can't that bucket ever be filled? Well, to figure that out, we have to go to the scene of the crime, our own minds. This is where we're going to see that the whole game of material success, it's rigged from the start.
And you know what's wild? Modern research totally backs this up. Of course, look, money does buy happiness up to a certain point, when it's covering our basic needs like food and shelter. But the data is crystal clear. After that point, the curve just flattens out. The link between having more wealth and feeling more happiness it completely breaks down.
Okay, so that leads us to the really crucial question. If getting more isn't the answer, then why do we have this persistent, nagging feeling of not enough? Well, the answer lies in the mind's very own dissatisfaction machine. So how does this machine work? Well, it basically runs on two unconscious habits that we all have. First, there's constant comparison. Our mind is always automatically measuring what we have against what other people have, which, just tanks our satisfaction right away. And second, we've got insatiable future gazing. Our attention is constantly fixed on the next thing, which makes whatever we have right now feel like it's just a stepping stone to something better.
And this creates a non-stop cycle, right? We get something new, we feel this brief little flicker of satisfaction, but almost immediately the mind starts looking for the next thing. Our shiny new possession isn't fulfillment anymore. It's just a temporary stop on some endless road to nowhere.
Okay, so we've looked at the modern symptoms. Now it's time to turn to a much, much older and deeper diagnosis of the problem. We're going to identify the true culprit behind this whole feeling of not enough.
The Buddha actually gave this condition a very precise name, tanha. Now, this isn't some moral judgment. It's more like a clinical description. It's that thirst, that self-centered craving for things to be different than they actually are. This, he said, is the real engine driving our dissatisfaction. And the central illusion, the big lie that tanha sells us, is this belief right here, that if we can just get the thing we want right now, then the feeling of wanting itself will finally just go away. But the reality? It's the complete opposite. See, feeding a craving doesn't get rid of it. It actually makes it stronger. Think of it like a path in a forest. The very first time you walk it, it's hard, right? You're pushing through branches, but after you've walked it 100 times, it's a well-worn trail. Every single time we indulge a craving, we're just making that mental groove deeper, which makes the next urge to want even stronger and way more automatic. All right, so let's really put this idea to the ultimate test. Let's look at the perfect modern case study of someone who has totally won the game of getting things, but is still trying to fill that bottomless bucket, the billionaire.
I mean, just picture the archetype of success in our world. Billions of dollars? Check. A loving, perfect family? Check. A flawless public image? Check. By every single external measure we have, they have checked all the boxes for a happy and complete life.
They have everything we're told we're supposed to want. So why? Why do we still see them striving and pushing and chasing the next deal, the next company, the next bit of validation?
And their constant motion, it just reveals the truth, doesn't it? If having literally limitless external resources can't quench that thirst, then the problem was never about what's on the outside. The source of that emptiness is, and it always was, on the inside.
It's because as soon as one desire is finally met, the mind's programming just ensures there is always a next thing waiting in the wings. The object of our desire was never the point. The real issue is the habit of thirsting itself.
But here's the thing. This whole trap of desire, it's just one piece of a much, much bigger puzzle. So now we're going to zoom out and see how it's actually just one lock in a much larger, more intricate prison of illusions, one that's designed to keep us running around in circles forever.
This system, it's built on 4 core deceptions. First, you've got the ghost, this deep belief in a solid, permanent self that isn't actually there. Second, the inner fire. This is the shocking realization that our suffering isn't caused by the world, but it's a fire that we ourselves are fueling. Third, the perception prison. This is saying that we don't experience reality as it is, but we see it through the bars of our own conditioning. And finally, putting it all together, you have the desire trap, which uses all those other illusions to keep us permanently locked in the cycle of want.
So what this whole system does is it systematically dismantles every conventional external path to peace. It seals every single escape hatch until we're finally forced to look in the one and only direction we've been trying so hard to avoid, inside ourselves.
And let's be real for a second. This realization can be incredibly disorienting. It can feel like the ground has literally been pulled out from under you. But this disillusionment, this ability to clearly see the trap for what it is, that is the essential first step.
And all of this, it leaves us with one final, really urgent question. If every single external solution is just another part of the trap, where do you even begin to fight back?